Yo, what up? What up? Good to see y'all, YouTube. George G's, what is good, man? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping right in. Give me a little thumbs up or A-OK if you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn maybe the mic up just a little bit. Check, 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 check. Hey, oh, that was way too loud. My bad. Hey, hey, hey. Just popping in. Talk about some stuff. We had the unveiling of the right on. Thank you, George. Appreciate you, dude. How you doing, man? You good? Awesome. Thank you. Um, had the after the Leviathan leak. We had it drop today. I don't know if maybe they were forced to because of the leak or what exactly. Maybe it was planned all along to come out today. I don't know, but yeah, um, we could talk a little bit about that. I'm sure people might be a little burned out on their on hearing about that. There was a lot. It looked like a lot of the big YouTubers got that one, and a few I didn't expect actually. I watched a few videos on it. It looks super cool, looks super dope. Pretty much what I expected it to be. Everybody's calling it an FM synth, and from what I understand, like Darcy came out and people were saying it's not an FM synth. Um, it does FM, but it's much more than that. And from the looks of it, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Kawhi K5000, like maybe like some additive action in there. Um, it's super badass. It looks super powerful. Um, I'm not going to be rushing out to get it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, um, about buying more synths. George is looking to buy a flagship. Yeah, which one are you looking at? Um, the desktop. If I get the Leviathan, and I might down the road, we'll see here. I'm not ruling it out altogether, but I'm not pre-ordering it. I'm not rushing out, and it's not even about the price. I expected the price to be a lot higher than the Hydra. To be honest, I really did. I thought it was going to be. Um, I knew with when I saw 8 oscillators per voice with an analog filter, I knew there was no way it was going to be in the same price range. So I'm not mad about the price. 2,500 for a full size, amazing, powerful synth like that, and then I mean the desktop 1,800, but it's basically got everything that the synth does, the full size does from the looks of it, from what I saw, other than the touch ribbon and the keys. So I get it. I'm not mad about it, and it's not the price that's kind of kept me from ordering it. It's that I just did a look around today, and I'm gonna open up a box. I got a box in today. Some of you guys already know what that is. I talked about it in some other people's streams and stuff. Hey, what's up, Keith? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining in. Just gonna open up a box and talk a little bit about gear and synthesizers and when enough is enough, when you know you need more. And I know George has got a huge collection, and is still going for more. And there's nothing wrong with getting as many as your heart desires. Um, for me, I kind of am at a point. I've been playing. I got the Quantum and the Muse right here, and those were big deals for me to get and add in this last year. And I mean, playing with that, and then the third wave, the desktop third wave 8M over there, I feel like I like getting another synthesizer. It's like I just why I can do so much with just those three alone, not even counting all the other things. That it's like and I'm not ruling it out down the road or saying that nobody else should get this Leviathan or anything. It's just I did like it's my initial thing when I heard about it in the leak was like, I need to jump all over this. I gotta have it. Huge fan of the Hydra. Hydra's been with me for 6 years now. Got it right when it came out. The desktop dropped, and love it. I've used it on a ton of stuff. But yeah, as soon as it came out and I started watching, I was like, okay, first of all, where would I even put it? What's it gonna like bring? What's it gonna replace? Um, and it's not going anywhere. I think I honestly could see like in a couple years snagging one used desktop. Maybe after I like get through this process of trying to get this album made that I'm working on and move on to some other equipment and stuff. We'll see. But yeah, I did a count of synthesizers that I have, and on that note, I'm going to open this box, and I'm going to be honest. Like this product, I pre-ordered this a while back. I'm going to be honest. If it was today and I was looking to buy it, I probably wouldn't jump on this one like I did. I kind of don't feel like I need it, but it'll be cool. I'm not sending it back or anything. It's one that I wanted. But having said that, I honestly don't think I needed it. Let's see here. So we're going to open up a box, guys. What's in the box? And this will probably be the last box opening for a good hot minute, other than maybe a guitar pedal or something here or there. But yeah, we got. And this one was one I was stoked on when I saw it announced and everything about it. The 2XM from Behringer. Yeah, man, the Behringer 2XM. I don't have very many of these little Behringer desktop modules. In fact, I think the Cobalt Expander is the only one that I own. Just nothing against any of them. I've thought many times of getting a Model D and certain things, but just the Neutron. But I have, I have all the Moog semi-modulars, and I got Grandmother that gives me good bass for that. I just, yeah. Yeah, guys, grab the 2XM. I'll open up the main box here in a sec. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. I have a few deals around me. Novation Peak, Dave Smith Prophet 12. Damn. You know what? A Peak, that's been something I've eyed for a long time. And I actually, not too long ago, thought about grabbing there was a used one up on Reverb that I was thinking about getting. And then I was thinking about the Summit instead. And then went back to the Peak. Because I always thought the Peak would pair so good with Hydra, The conversion price in Europe is is it bad for this new guy? I bet. I'm eyeing the Erica Sense Percons you have behind you. I have a blue one for sale, just 20 minutes from me. Oh yeah, man, I like the Percons. It's cool. Yeah, if you can get a good deal on one used, that's the way to go. That was one that I had lusted over for a long while, at least a couple of years before I finally pulled the trigger. 2-3 years maybe. It's been out for a minute, huh? Yeah, George, Percons is dope, and there's an update to it. I saw someone told me I read. I think you can put samples on the fourth voice there. So I haven't looked into that. Someone just mentioned that to me. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. But it's a fun one to just jam on. It's once you get learn the little picadillos and whatnot of it, takes a minute to wrap your head around it. But once you got it, super dope drum machine. But I can never tell someone not to get the Percons. I want to get a new FM synth. I have the Waldorf XT. Any suggestions? I mean, for just FM, we got that Behringer BX1 supposed to eventually be out, which is supposed to be a beast of an FM synth. A Digitone 2. Everybody that has one of those absolutely loves them. That's I have the Digitone 1, which is a great little FM machine that I love. The Third Wave 8M does pretty good FM actually. You can do and wavetable amongst other things, and you can load your own samples, your own wavetables into it, and then do FM on that. But for just like something really pure, I mean, I know the new Leviathan obviously can do some insane stuff, but I'm not like a big. I've never been like a big user of FM synthesis. I've always wanted to delve more into it. That's why I got the Digitone 1 originally. And it's fun. I just always end up getting a lot of bell sounds and stuff out of it. I had a DX7 for a while back in the day. Could not program that to save my life. It just drove me mad. But I don't know if the BX1 from Behringer, if they ever release it, we'll see. I mean, they showed it at NAMM. I sound like Samurai. NAMM. It's NAMM or NAM. It's not Vietnam. It's NAMM. It's Nam that Samurai says. But yeah, man, yeah, those would be, I don't know, George or someone else in the chat may have more experience with some FM synths, might be able to. There's that one from Korg that's supposed to be released at the OP6, has 6 operators. I've heard a lot of good things about that one. Those would be the few that I would say. And man, the Waldorf XT, damn, that's one. I love Waldorf synths. I really want to collect some of their older ones. I love the Quantum. I've been like really, really, really in love. And that's something that people sleep on. You can, I know the new ones. What's a Quantum MK2 is like $6,000 or something, just absolutely crazy. But there's the only difference there is the poly aftertouch, if that's a big deal for you. But you can find a used Quantum MK1 for under $2,000. I got this one for under $2,000. If you wait and look for deals, and to me that's a steal. I think that's an absolute steal. And people sleep on like how good getting a used MK1 is. But let's see. I have Hydroship synth desktop in a rack and I love it. Yeah, nice, George. I was gonna rack mine, but when I first got it, after I had it a little bit, I got some really nice wooden sides for it. So I never racked it because of that. I really like how it looks with those. They're like African Paduic. Who did I get them from? Was it Curry Cases or like a guy who specially handcrafts them? He did some more for me for the SP SP 2400, the Isla Instruments one, and I ended up getting rid of that. But these ones are nice because they're like almost orangish, so they kind of complement the. I'll show it. I don't want to. The camera gets all weird when I try and move it right now. I need to. I'm gonna hook up. I have another one that I'm gonna hook up for a different angle of the studio, but. Yeah, let's see. Behringer with the long waits. Yep. Probes, what's going on? Conductive, thanks for jumping in. Yeah, Op6. Yeah, that's, let's see, just tweaking some whips and listening. Works in projects, right on Probes, working on some tracks. I appreciate y'all jumping in. I'm going to open this guy up and take a look at what we got here. Because I am excited about this. Like I said, I did pre-order it. I wanted it. And if it's really good, I will probably, if I really like the sound of it, I'm planning on adding a few more in a rack and getting a multi-voice Oberheim. Because I don't have any Oberheim action in my studio. So we'll see if this brings that sound. A lot of people really say that this one is kind of special. Okay, we got that. There's a musician in every human being. Uli! What is this guy? Safety instructions. Oh, wow. They actually got a little, it's just the little safety deal. Stick that aside. Get the power supply. Is that a MIDI cable? Some patch cables? They give you actually some patch cables and maybe a MIDI cable. I don't know. That's cool. I don't remember my COBOL or anything else coming with that. Here's the power supply. So those... Okay. Set that guy there. See how this thing looks, man. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, if it was today and I just saw this drop, I probably wouldn't jump on this just because I'm not. I have too many synthesizers, man. I don't need more. I just don't. And Oh, nice little cream. I like the cream color there. It's a cool little size. I saw they make rack ears. I don't think this goes is directly 19. I can measure it, but they make those Behringer rack ears. That's what I got some for the Cobalt, but the Behringer brand like ones were sold out. I bought like some dude made them. They were like 3D printed or something like that. I think off of I don't know where I found those, Etsy or somewhere. Yeah, this thing. See how the quality. Got those nice Behringer fake wood sides. They do look good though. Alright. The expander module. Modules 1 and modules 2. Got those tiny little like DFAM Mother 32 pots. Then it's got the knobs. They don't feel too bad. Knobs actually feel pretty good actually on this one. Got a nice patch bay. You got stereo out, MIDI in. And I was happy that it had stereo outputs because a lot of these are mono, so that was one of the selling points for me. But yeah, if this sounds as good as some of the demos, I think it was Starsky or someone, I could see like making a system with like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these and having like 4 voice. Or is this duophonic? Maybe it's 2 voices. I don't know. I didn't watch that, but I just listened to some sound demos. But yeah, I probably wouldn't jump on it right now today, but I do have a little rack space over here. I could throw it in up above some patch bays and a mixer. So kind of cool. I'm happy it finally showed up because it was pre-ordered for a while. Those were, I guess that's a hot one people want, but kind of cool. BX1 will be the way to go for some good FM. I agree. My only worry, you have a Summit for sale New Year too? Damn. Yeah, Keith, no problem, man. Sorry, hopefully that helped a little. That was just off the top of my head what I could think. Like I said, FM's never been my, I haven't delved that hardcore into it. But I have used it with the Digitone one a bit, and I've messed around with some FM in the Quantum or the Third Wave. So let's see what you guys are saying here. Only go BX1 if you're prepared to program it. Yes, that's what I was just going to get into and say, Probes, is if it's anything like programming an original DX7, there's no way I can do it. Not in this day and age. I'm not going to sit there. If they're putting just a little, if they're making it original to what that was with those little screens and the endless menu diving, yeah, you count me out of that. That just sounds it. I mean, if you're willing to put in the work, I'm sure you can get really, really cool sounds out of it, but not for me. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Mark? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. You think I'll like the 2XM? I think so too. I'm pretty picky on like, especially on the Behringer stuff of these remakes. I haven't jumped on very many of them. I grabbed the ARP 2600 one when it came out, and I've been happy with that. And then other than that, I have the first one I got was the VC 340 vocoder, which I love that thing. I think it sounds really, really good. The strings and vocoder on it's the best vocoder I have in the studio, and I keep that like literally right here. I use it a lot actually. The vocoder, I run signals through it for the vocoder and stuff. But then I ended up getting the Cobalt because I watched the Sonic State, Sonic's Lab, Nick Bat's little demo review of it, and I was just like, wow, this one actually has an interesting, like, doesn't sound like, because some of those Behringer monosynths kind of sounded similar to me. They had a lot of similarities in the forms of subtractive synthesis, and I'm sure there's characteristics that were different and whatnot. But the Cobalt one, like, it just, my ears were like, I kind of want to check that out. And the patch points on it and the way it's laid out. And it's just such a super rare, weird synth that you would never come across in the wild or be able to hear. So I grabbed it and I absolutely love it. It really brings a different sound than any of my other synths into the studio. And I'm going to be doing some stuff that's featuring on a bunch of the new tracks that I'm doing. The Cobalt is in there with the 2600. I have it under the 2600 and patching them together, and then the KeyStep Pro below it to sequence. And there's it's on two of the newer tracks that I have that are close to being finished are featuring the Cobalt, and I plan on doing some other stuff with it video wise. But yeah, other than that, I was like, and like some of them are cool. I thought about getting the Pro One. People have really liked that, and I was just like, space time. Like, do I really need more monosense? Which I don't. That's the thing, is more monosense is like, how many do you need? If you have like over 10, I think that's like way more than enough. And I do have way more than that. But this one, again, this came out and I was like, okay, because the UBXA was cool. I don't know. The sounds of it didn't strike me. I know some people really love it as like getting that Oberheim sound or whatever. I don't know how realistic it is or whatever, but this one, like, this one had like a definitely more, the sound like grabbed me more right off the bat, that I was like, you know what, for whatever, $250 or whatever, like if it sounds good, I can use it. And then like I'm doing this thing now where I'm kind of rotating things out. There's things on a shelf in the closet that I put up. When I'm working on a project or a couple tracks, I pick these distinct things that I use, and then as I move on to something else, I'll be like, oh, in this case, I'm going to use, whatever, the Base Station 2 and the SH32. I have something that I'm going to be doing with those two. So it can be a number of things, but then there's things that are always going to stay out, obviously, like the Quantum and the Muse and Grandmother are my three main, keyboard ones that I have here. But I have other keyboards around with controllers and stuff. But yeah, that method's working out well, of just like choosing a few for this track or this jam or whatever I'm doing, and putting some stuff up and just kind of rotating things in and out is helping to control the madness of so many. So yeah, I think you will like the 2XM. Yes, I bet that. Yeah, I think so, man. Lots of parameters to tweak. It looks cool. No, I'm excited. I am definitely hyped. It's got a lot going on. Yeah. Yeah, this will be fun to play with. Run it through some effects. I'll put it through like the Chroma console or something, or like the Lost and Found, or the Olivera. I've been liking that Olivera oil can reverb. Let's see, add effects and you're laughing. I bet. Yeah, that's exactly my first thought. I was like, put this thing through some effects and it's gonna be a good time. Let's see. Oh, it is 2 voice. Okay, perfect. So if I add 2 more, that's a 6 voice synth. Because I'm pretty sure you can polychain them, from what someone told me. Sure, if you're paired with an BX1, you will get what you put in. Yeah, I mean, if you put in the time and effort, it's gonna be, it's gonna be what it is. It's just that is, if it's like anything like the DX7, I just don't have the patience for it. It's just not made for me. End up getting 2 Cobalts. Nice, conductive, very cool. I thought about that when I got one. I might down the road do that as well at some point. That's not a bad idea. Can you polychain those ones as well? That would be cool. Hans Volt, what up, sir? Good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping in. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to stick with my polysynths, especially if they have 2 stereo outputs. Same, George. I'm not buying any more mono synths. This, like I said, if I had to pre-order this a ways back, I wouldn't buy it today. Although that one's stereo. But yeah, no more mono synths. Maybe, probably ever. If anything, I could get rid of some mono synths, to be honest. I mean, there comes a time where it's just like, it's got to be, anything that comes out has to be beyond interesting and special for me to even slightly consider it at this point. And the Viasynth, it has some stuff that looks cool, but I'm not jumping, running out to get it. I wouldn't kick it out of bed if I got a good deal on a used one down the road or something, but I just don't, it's not, I looked at everything it can do and I was like, you know what, having the third wave with the Quantum, and then having the Hydrasynth already. Between those three, I'm pretty sure I could probably make a lot of the sounds you could on the Viasynth. I don't know for sure. I haven't heard like. We'll see as it gets like further along and we hear more like people making patches on it and it gets out like what kind of sounds. I think it's super awesome. I think it's badass that they have released such a. I mean, it's. I think it's more interesting than like most of the other synths that have been coming out and over the last couple years. I think it brings more to the table. With, I mean, the 8 oscillators is one thing, right, per voice and stuff. But like being able to the modulation capabilities that I was reading about and seeing in some of like that Nick Bat and some of the people were talking about. Definitely intriguing and would be. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun to play with, but not jumping on it. I mean, as Hans knows, if you have a GR Mega, once you get the GR Mega, it kind of kills your gas for almost everything. If I hadn't had, because that was like the last piece I added after these. If I, I think I might have had the Toneverk. I can't remember if I got the Toneverk right around the same time, but it wasn't working fully at the time. Yeah, having the Toneverk and GR Mega together with the Octatrack as like one section is like, I mean, it's going to be years before I master all the potential and capability and craziness that you can do with since I have. So I'm just I'm over buying any more synthesizers for the foreseeable future. And I say that, and I've said that before. And I did go. I think I went like 2.5 years without really getting anything. Maybe one. I might have gotten one of the Moog semi-modulars might have come out in there. Maybe I picked up Spectravox somewhere in that time period or something like that. But I do go periods. It's not like I'm always buying synthesizers. I just went on a spree this last year. There were some things I wanted and that I wanted to add, and then I went a little nuts. I got a few things that I, like jumped on that I maybe didn't necessarily need, but now I'm kind of happy with everything. And like I said, this whole rotation schedule thing of as I work on a track or a jam, a current thing, bringing stuff in, taking stuff out, goes into the closet. There's a shelf on the closet in there that I have synths and drum machines and there's just a bunch of shit in, the closet of excess. But yeah, and then so. I'm a fan of multi-timbral hardware synths. Yes, same. There aren't many that do 16-part. You know what? And that's the thing I thought we'd see on this Leviasynth because it has like a 3-part sequencer or something, or 3-track sequencer and arpeggiator. I was like, okay, this thing's gonna have to be at least 4-part multi-timbral. GR Mega's 4-part. I think that should be the bare minimum in any digital device. Is at least 4. But yeah. 12, 16. Why did every digital thing in the 90s, crappy old Roland stuff have so many parts of, multi-timbral? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like it could be that hard. That's one thing that I was bummed about with the third wave 8M. It's only 2-part. It's only 4. It's 8 voices, so I was like, okay, I can live with it. At least it's 2-part. Synthesizers like the Hydrasynth, the regular Hydra, it doesn't have any multi-timbrality, so it's kind of wild, isn't it? I look at things like old 90s keyboards that have like so many parts. It's crazy. Let's see, Zero Gas. Yep. Dude, so you get something so unique and amazing like the GR Mega. That's the way people who have a lot of gas. I think the reason a lot of people suffer from buying so much stuff all the time is because they buy these small, and I don't want to say cheaper things, but like less expensive ones that aren't as powerful devices, and like a bunch of like cheaper ones. And where if you get something really big and powerful and amazing, it kind of cuts out the looking so much at the new little shit that keeps dropping, and to each their own. Some people just like more affordable groove boxes and stuff like that. I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just saying that if anyone is ever feeling like, God, I kind of wish I could just like quit looking at stuff and just settle on these something and stick with it for a long while before I'm buying something else. And it's like the way to do that, I honestly think, is to get something like, a flagship, a huge, monster of a synthesizer, sampler, whatever, like the GR Mega. Or I think the Quantum has kind of killed a lot of desire for some of the other synthesizers I wanted as well. But whatever it is that, like, when you get it, like, hits that, like, okay, I can go deep on this, I can spend time on this, and you lose interest. It just takes that interest away and wanting to look at like the hot new thing. At least that's my opinion, and everybody's different. So I'm not gonna like preach at anyone or say, you need to quit buying stuff or whatever, No, it's just if you are ever feeling like, you're tired of it and tired of watching all these videos and like, gassing over things, get something really, really big, special, and major, and play with it every night, like Hans does with his GR Mega. I will be more here soon, Hans. It's front and center. I've got once I finish this last track I'm in and put some stuff away that's over here, it's going to be that and the Tonewerk here, and that's going to be the focus from probably like till summertime. Huge sounds are great, but they don't really work in a track. Oh, what are you guys talking about? I always use my Korg Wavestation EX in multi-mode. Korg Wavestation. If you program it, just to get a lot out of it. Let's see. The Access Viral rules and multi-timbrality. That's the prime example of a synthesizer that's like, how they all should be. All digital synths should aspire to become as close as they can to being as amazing as the Access Virus. Because how many years ago did the Access Virus? It's been a long, long time. We've had so many synthesizers. I do think that this Leviasynth like does some things that are special. I don't know. 2-part multi-timbrality though. That's the thing. Like, what's up with that? Yeah. Let's see. Usual suspects. Tactical MIDI, what's up, man? Good to see you. I popped on briefly for a minute as you were ending a stream earlier with your MPC. Got on right when you were taking a break from jamming. Nice. Yeah, guys, I was thinking about it. I got my tactical. I got in the 2XM. Got this in, and I was thinking about like how I'm just done with, and shuffling some stuff out. I'm not going to sell anything because I feel like all the things I have got, I can use and will find use in tracks. And I've found sometimes that like I've talked about this before, like I might get an instrument and not click with it or use it to its full capability right away, but then 2-3 years down the road, it becomes like a mainstay and something I use on like 2 or 3 songs in a row or something, 2 or 3 tracks recording. But like I don't know, it's funny because I was thinking about like why I've acquired this many synthesizers over these last 5 years, and there's a number of reasons for it. But I think back to when I was young and I used to play in bands. I played bass. I was in like metal bands and punk bands and stuff in Phoenix, Arizona. Used to play in some pretty big shows and stuff. Recorded, went in studios, recorded in some professional studios. Have some CDs out. I might play some of that music sometime. Some of it I like. Some of it I'm so proud of. I used to, I played bass and sang on some. I was like sing some songs or sang backups on the others. Some stoner rock kind of bands and metal bands and stuff like, but I was thinking about like my dream when I was young, when I was like a young kid. I always thought like to be a rock star, like, when I was like a young kid, I loved like, heavy metal and stuff. Van Halen when I was a little kid was like my favorite band in the world. And I mean like back in the 80s, little kid. And then later metal and other stuff like that. But that was like the dream, is like I wanted to be a rock star, you know, and then like playing in bands, like, oh, we're gonna, this is back when you could actually like be in a band and get signed and stuff. This is before, you know, the internet. Basically it all became Spotify and this new world we're in, back when people bought CDs and shit like that. But that was the dream, you know, and it never happened. I had a lot of fun. I have no regrets with what we did, and I had a lot of fun playing music with friends and playing shows and all that stuff. But later, as I got a little older, the dream changed, right? Instead of being a rock star, the dream became about I wanted to have like a sound design studio where I could come in and just make any kind of crazy noise and do experiment with things. And that became the goal, and the dream was to like have the ultimate studio that I could just come and record and just spend as much time as I wanted without having to pay money to, you know, go use a professional studio. And that's how this evolved, you know. And I realized like today, as I was like thinking about that Leviathanth, and this showed up, and I was like, God, I really don't need this thing. And I don't need the Leviathanth. And I did like a count of my synths, and I got up there into like the late 30s, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about the ones in the closet. And I was like, all right, I'm not even gonna finish counting. This is stupid. You know what I mean? Like I don't need all of this stuff. And there's some that I would part with, but have nostalgic reasons why I keep them. The main stuff that I have is stuff that I want and is not going to go anywhere. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell anything, really, to be honest. And I don't need to or anything. If the only reason like I would do that is for space, and now with this method of putting it away until I want to use it on a different track, you know. Other people I know, I think Wabbit was talking about doing it where he puts it away, and if he doesn't miss it or something, or you like want to use it, then he sells it. And that's not my technique. I put it away just like it can be indefinitely, you know. I might have something sit in there for years, you know. I mean, I plan on this being like all the way through till I retire from work and can spend all my time, you know, all my free time in my studio. You know, it's my playground, it's my sanctuary, it's my happy place, it's my laboratory, and that's the goal. And it's funny how we change, huh? How things, how we evolve, and what's important or what we care about, what we want. So just thought I'd touch on that a little bit, guys. Let's see. Exercising your skills. Hell yeah, dog. Still using that MPC. I like that. I still got my MPC X and MPC 1, dude, and I'm not getting rid of either of them. I like them both for different reasons. Let's see. I want one. Did you fire up the synth? Which one synth you talking about? I was playing on the Quantum before this, but then I was like, I was going to do this box opening and then do the Quantum at the same time, but then can't have the mic on. It was just been a kind of a hassle with dragging the headphones over there. So I was like, I'll turn the Quantum off. I'm going to do another Quantum thing maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll try and show. I'm still learning how to get really good at making patches. That thing is so deep. You did a lot of punk rock, right on, Tactical. Yeah, I used to, you know, that was a huge thing to me when I was younger, was metal and punk. When I was a younger man, you want a semi-modular corner. It's a nice thing. It's fun. I like having it. I never sold anything, but that's because I take ages to decide if I need to buy it. Yeah, that's kind of how I am, probes. And I talked about this a while back. Years ago, I had a lot of music gear, like a good collection of some vintage stuff that would now definitely be vintage, synths and drum machines and all kinds of like amps and different stuff, and ended up selling almost all of it, like just where I was in life at that time. I wasn't playing as much, and you know, time went by, and I ended up really regretting and missing some of that gear. And I would look at like a guitar pedal I had and sold. I'd look it up on Reverb Used, and I sold it for $40 and it's now selling for like 800, stuff like that. Like a lot of that gear that I sold is worth like that I sold for super cheap. Because at the time I just didn't know, like it wasn't worth anything. Then you never know what gear is going to get expensive later on. Especially the like synths back then and stuff like, nobody wanted those synthesizers. And some of them aren't that expensive now. Like I had the Alpha Juno one was like one of my first synths that I had, and I loved, and I ended up selling it for like $100. And they're going up every year. I thought about getting one like a few years back, and I was like, I don't really need it. But I regret. I would like to have it just because it was a gift too. So anyhow, that was another reason that I have some feelings. I get in my feels when it comes to selling stuff off. I did sell the Digitact, Electron Digitact, twice and bought it a third time. And then about 6 months later, they came out with Digitact 2. But that's probably one of the only things. I literally sold it and then was like, man, I missed it. Bought it again. And then like didn't use it. I think I'd gotten the MPC X SE or something around that time that I was using. Oh, excuse me. Or maybe it was Syntact. Something I was using for drums more. Because I'm more of a fan of Syntact, of those little boxes, than almost all of them. I really like the Syntact. If on most of my tracks and videos and stuff I put on Popcorn Night, like a lot of times the drums on those are from the Electron Syntact. But yeah, I was like, they did one last big update on the Digitact with like, I forget. It added a bunch of stuff that wasn't in it before, and I was like, oh man, I just sold it like maybe 2 months before that. I was like, of course. And so I bought it a third time. I was like, all right, this is the final one. Never getting rid of it. And I'm not. I'll keep that Digitact one forever. And that was the final one. Even if I ever got a Digitact 2, which I don't plan to, I would maybe get a Digitone 2. Maybe. I don't plan on doing it. But that would be the only one of those that I would probably get. But funny, that's the only thing that I've like really sold off that I regretted in these last years. And I've sold some other things. There's some things I got and just didn't like. I won't make a list right now, but it's not like I never sell stuff. But the majority of what I have now and that I've scaled the studio down to is like feels all essential to what I want to do. So you need to sample more, man. Sampling's the shit. You should do field recording, dude. That's what I've been enjoying doing. I do it at work and stuff now, like my breaks and stuff. Go out and like field record, hitting metal and wood and different things and scraping stuff, and then take that stuff and you can drop it in anything. You could drop it in your PC. I've been putting it into the GR Mega or the Toneverk. I used to always do it into the MPC or the Digitact, but those are kind of, I have my MPC X is kind of over on another little table on this other side. I set up a station with just that and the turntable with the SP404 MK2. I run effects and the analog heat from Electron, because I think like I almost want to get another one of those, just the regular, not the effects one, because you can get those cheap. Those like for end of chain or right before like, after your stereo out, especially on the MPC, really, really add to that sauce, man. And you could get the same thing. I think you have like, I don't know if you have the Digitone or Digitact Tactical, but you run your audio through those Electron boxes. Their reverbs and everything on their effects, the compressors and stuff are dope. But that saturation that you get out of the analog heat, that real analog fucking grime that it gives depending on what setting you have, just really, really adds. And then I go into the SP404, use the compressor on that or some effects. It's a cool little setup. I just go over there and sample vinyl. It's not something that because I don't use like vinyl samples like really in my tracks unless I mangle the living shit out of it in the music that I put out. I was wanting to do it with the GR Mega here. I haven't sampled any vinyl into it. I thought that could be a fun little day of messing around. But yeah, I do that and just make beats with like vinyl samples. That way it's just something fun to do like on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee, some headphones. It's just relaxing. Is that? I like the punk scene to scrape the bullshit at home to escape. Yeah. Skateboarding. Hell yeah. Skateboarding was a giant part of my life, dude. I still keep up on it. Take my kid to the park and stuff. I can't jump off shit anymore or do like shit that I used to, but I still get out there and mess around and cruise around with my boy at the park. I can still like do a kickflip, and I was like a couple years ago like getting back into it, doing some switch stuff and some other stuff, but this last year, I don't know. I had some health problems and I just haven't gotten back to being physical that way on the not on the skateboard. I'll buy an MPCX for cheap, waiting for a deal to pop up. Hell yeah, George. That's what I would tell anybody right now. That's the best thing about these new MPCs coming out is now you can get an X or XSE. The XSE has the 4 gigs of RAM. The regular XS2, which is fine, but depending on how many plugins or whatever you're going to load up in it, the XSE, and you can get those super cheap, dude. I mean, I paid an insane amount for it when it came out. But I'm happy. Like and that's, I'm not buying any of these new MPCs. That MPCX and my MPC1, those are for the X. That's my forever MPC. For if I was to get anything besides that, it would be an old one, like a 3000 or something, or even like a 4000 or 5000. But I don't plan on. I'm not going to get a vintage MPC. But that's if I was going to get any other MPC than the XSE, I would go back instead of. And I'm sure this new XL one. I haven't watched it. I think there's a video. I think it actually got released, didn't it? I don't know. This is the first time I haven't like been on the forefront of the new Akai product. I'll do a live stream, maybe like looking at some videos of it when it drops and stuff. I still love. It's just they've changed so much just since I bought the MPC one 5 years ago or whatever it was. It's changed it just has evolved into such a workstation, where you have to rely. They want you to buy all these plugins and VSTs, and that's just not. I don't need a bunch of VSTs in my drum machine sampler. I have synthesizers everywhere I can sample, so I don't need to. Some of them are cool, the Jura, and I'm not knocking them or anybody who uses them or anything, but for me, I just want to use it as a sampler and a drum machine, which that's kind of, and it's a sequencer. I think it's a great sequencer. Besides the Electrons, it's, I think, the greatest sequencer there is, in my opinion, is the MPC. Sequencing other gear with it is the shit. So you make different setup styles. Hell yeah. You have an OG SH101 and MC202. Nice, Probes. Hell yeah. Those SH101s are so nice. I always wanted one of those. I had a buddy who had one I used to go play around on. I think he still has it, actually. He lives in Phoenix. Great synth. I think I need to sample more. Yeah, Probes. Those are two great ones to have. Oh, what am I missing here? Let's see. Love the MC202 sequencer. Not to mention the Yamaha CX5. Hell yeah. Found sounds great for creating your own drum kits. Big time. You take those and you drop them into, especially like a good sampler that has synthesis capabilities with like envelopes and filters and things, and you shape those into like killer drum sounds. That's what's up. Yeah, Analog Heat, dude. And don't go buy that new one with effects unless you really need that or want that. Just go find even the MK1. I've seen those for around $400. They basically do the same thing. I forget what. There wasn't that big of a jump from the MK1 to the MK2 like there is to the third one. So if you can find a cheap MK1, even just to have, because that'll give you like what I don't even use like some of the stuff in it. I mainly just use it to saturate the signal into chain. It just gives it a nice, off the MPC especially. Let's see. Leviathan's whack in your opinion, Hans? No, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't know. I haven't really formed my whole thought process on it. I mean, I think it's cool they came out with something new. Hey, what's up, Rourke? Thanks for jumping in. Good to see you, dude. I mean, I think that it's cool they came out with something new. It looks like it has some interesting things it can do, but it's just not something that is... not something that grabbed me like I was hoping it would. So, Fisk 111, what's up? Economy crash will render synths pennies. Haha, you might be right. We'll never know. Good to see you, man. What else we got in here? Let's see, we got rocking my OG Digitech bought for 400. That's what's up. See, that's the best thing, Rourke. Like, and you guys is like, people get like, oh, this new gear comes out, damn, it's so expensive and stuff. But think of the pluses of now the older stuff is cheaper used. You know, you can get good deals. That's why I waited and got my Quantum MK1. That thing was $5,000. You know, for years, and I was like, damn, I wanted it bad. I wanted a Waldorf Quantum, and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and they dropped the MK2, and I waited, looked all the time, and finally they dropped. Like they started, you'd see them for around 20, 28, 2,500, and then I found one for $1,800, in pristine condition too. So that's the glory, and that's it. Like people were like, "Oh, these new NPCs," it's like, dude, think of it this way. Now you could get yourself an X for super cheap and have the big flagship. It was the cream of the crop just a couple years ago. Just because a new piece of gear comes out, it doesn't mean that this other stuff becomes obsolete. And I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like a company comes out with the new model right after you got something, and you're like, oh man, like now my thing sucks or whatever. And that's not the case. We need to not look at it that way. Like, if we can be still using pieces of gear like from the 80s and 90s and 70s and 60s, in my case, I use equipment from the 1950s, laboratory equipment and stuff. So like nothing has to ever be obsolete or lame. You got to look at things in different ways. Now equipment that you wouldn't have got or wanted but didn't because maybe it was the price or whatnot is now becomes affordable and something you can have. We don't always have to be on the cutting edge of the newest brand new thing, because if we do that, you're gonna be like those people waiting in line for an iPhone every year. You know what I mean? Like I just I try and look at it like the Digitact 1 and the Digitone 1 still together are beast combo together, super powerful, badass. Yeah, just because there's a Digitact 2 and a Digitone 2 doesn't mean, with anything, you know what I mean? Like, just because there's a Quantum Mark II that has polyphonic aftertouch doesn't take away from the fact that you could still do 1,000 things on the regular Quantum or like an old piece of gear. We got to look at these new releases instead of always as like, oh damn, like that's something I'm not going to be able to afford, or that makes the thing I have, it makes the thing I have not worth anything anymore, or makes it lame. Is not the case. It's just not true. All it means is that you have a piece of history that still works just as good as it did the day that thing before that new product came out. It doesn't change the capabilities of what that is, and we need to keep sight of the fact that just because there's that new shiny thing that does this or that more doesn't mean that the regular thing that was tried and true isn't still 1,000% fucking usable to make music with and stuff. And I just think YouTube and the Glazers and the Shillbots and all that, the Showbilly, that whole mindset gets people in this thing of like, my this is out and I can't afford it, and now the one I have sucks. And I think it bums people out sometimes because, the economy's not good. People don't have a lot of money to be spending money on stuff. And like, yeah, look at it as opportunity, like, or because if you're worried that what you bought isn't worth as much to sell anymore, then why'd you buy it if you planned on selling it? Just saying. If you're going to buy something, you should buy it to use and to keep, and everybody's different. I understand. But like, if you get depressed because like your whatever synth or whatever is like, oh, it's going to go to half the price now. My Hydrasynth's going to be like not worth shit anymore because the Leviathan's out. Right. So what? That's how technology works. Does it mean that I can't still make music with the Hydrasynth? I can't still design insane patches and do all kinds of shit on it? Of course not. So if my worry was that it's going to lose value when something new comes out, then I should have sold it long ago, you know? So just my 2 cents on it. I know we all have different thoughts and ways about it, but yeah, I think we need to change the mindset there on like when new gear comes out. It's not about, you know, oh, we got to have that new fresh thing or my music's going to suck or whatever, you know. You're still going to make a killer track, you know, with your old model or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Just like you can still make a fucking phone call or send a text or, you know, play a video game or whatever it is you do on your iPhone or Android or whatever. And, you know, so anyhow, just my little rant there. So I do need to be getting off here in a minute, guys. Got to be up early at the mine. Literally have to go to a mine. It's not too bad. I work at a laboratory at a mine now. I'm a maintenance electrician. So some days it's chill, but some days it's can be kind of hectic. It's kind of crazy. It's not I've never done maintenance electrical, so it's been and I'm working on like equipment from like the early 80s and stuff, like old automation lines and stuff that are like archaic compared to stuff that I've troubleshooted or installed nowadays. So it's kind of wild, but it's literally at a gold mine. It's pretty crazy, but I have to get up hella early. So I will be cutting it here. I'll read a few more comments and then I'm going to jump out, guys. I appreciate you guys all coming in, hanging out. Plan on doing these more often. Maybe I'm going to try and do like talking with Samurai about like doing like a regular just weekly show and then maybe like one other. Got to pick a good day. So that's the thing, is it's hard for me to have a good time. Sometimes it's just impromptu. I'll have some free time to jump on like tonight. So tunes matter. Bro, the MP6L has a year 2010 CPU. I know it does. Doesn't mean you still can't do like all kinds of shit on it though. Just saying. Do a whole burner set just on those two for sure. Didn't Pauline have some drama? Yeah. They like released something and then like had one come out like less than a year later or something like that. I know people were really pissed about that. Hardware Shields just want to use VSTs, make you want to use VSTs for it? Yeah. It's 1 point get a CPU and the shit is 2800. Fuck that shit. Yeah. I hear you, Tactical. Buy something that's hard to replicate with a computer. Agreed, Fisk. Yeah. If you're buying hardware, it's best to, you know, get stuff that you can't do it on a computer or can't do it as well in a computer. Make music on tape. Times limitations is the charm. Cool work, fellow trade. Oh, nice, right? You're Sparky too, Rourke? Damn, that's a few of us. That's you and or you're just a tradey. Gotcha. You're just in the trades. Hell yeah, brother. Salute. Let's see if you get pretty far with a Juno 106 and an MS-20. Oh man, I would love to have both of those. That is one that I thought about getting, is that MS-20 Mini. I was just looking at one on eBay not that long ago. Hell, I'm gonna make a rant video right now. All right, guys. Well, I hope you all have a good week. I'll probably see some of you around in a stream or two that I'll jump in. Maybe I'll try and get on live at some point this week. We'll see how hectic the week is. But yeah, you guys, you know, be good to yourselves, be good to other people, and you know, fucking PMA all day. Peace.